Welcome back everybody to another update video. Today is a bit of a smaller one than usual. We only have 5 films today, but they are all on their own individual boutique labels. And yeah, the one I have the most from out of this lot is Arrow Academy, and it is Sleeping Dogs with Sam Neill. This was his first major lead role, and yeah, it's from 1977, directed by Roger Donaldson, and yeah, it's a really good political kind of like drama thriller, really, to be honest. And so it's got Warren Oates in it, and yeah, Roger Donaldson also did the really rather fantastic No Way Out as well. So yeah, it's a really solid film. Got also a nice little booklet in it as well, even though it came from CEX because it was going cheap, and I thought I may as well get it. And yeah, it's got its own booklet here, as you can see. And yeah, the contents basically Sleeping Dogs. Yeah, it's basically a write-up by Neil Mitchell, Sleeping Dogs, Packerman, and the birth of the New Zealand New Wave. Press book, and it's about the transfer as well. It's a decent-sized little booklet as well. It's 30 pages, so it's hardly small and hardly an afterthought either. So yeah, good cast, good plot. Not my favourite Sam Neill-led film, obviously, because you've got like the Jurassic Park and Hunt for the Wilder People as well and stuff like that, but it's still a really solid film. And yeah, that's the disc as well, is just the same as the artwork itself. So yeah, solid film overall, 107 minutes long, so nothing particularly lengthy, but still a really rather solid film. And then from BFI we have Rogue Male with Peter O'Toole. Now, unbeknownst to me when originally watching this, which was a few nights ago, I didn't actually realise this was a TV film, and looking back on it, the aspect ratio is a little bit like a TV film from the 70s, because this was originally released in 1976. And the aspect ratio, I think, is, yeah, 1.33 to 1, and so it's quite narrow. But, yeah, outside of that, it really did not come across as a TV film, especially since it's got quite a heavy amount of violence. It's got a really good A-list cast. Not only have you got Peter O'Toole in it, but you've also got a few other ones that I have seen in other films, but I can't quite remember off the top of my hat. But it is basically a World War II chase thriller, because he basically has a shot at Adolf Hitler, misses, and then he's basically on the run not just from the German authorities, but also from his own government, because it really wasn't on the books, or it may have been on the books. We're not quite sure. So yeah, still solid film, 103 minutes in colour, and yeah, a really enjoyable film. Double disc, so you got it on Blu-ray and DVD. And they've, actually made the DVD a different colour, so it's easy to differentiate. But yeah, still, cracking film, and easily one of my favourite new purchases that I have gotten lately. And then we also have from Criterion. Now, I think this is newly released in the UK. I'm not sure whether or not it came out before this year in America, but regardless, it is a Deep Cover. Now, this is a fantastic film from director Bill Duke, who you might have seen in other, more action-orientated films. I think he was in Commando and Predator. So yeah, he's more known for his acting roles and directing aspects, but still, this is a superb film. It's got Lawrence Fishburne in probably his best early lead role, and as well as Jeff Goldblum, both of whom pre their big 90s films. This was 1992, so 1 year before Jurassic Park and 7 years before The Matrix. But yeah, superb film, fantastic action thriller with crime elements as well, and you also get a really nice booklet in it as well, semi-booklet kind of thing going on for you as well. So yeah, you got the cast there, and you've got the people that have been involved in it. It's got a really good soundtrack and score on it as well, and yeah, all folds out to just talk about the film basically. So a write-up there called "Who'll Pay Reparations on My Soul" by Michael B. Gillespie. So yeah, that's an interesting write-up. And then you've got acknowledgements, special thanks about the transfer. So yeah, I think it's remastered from the original 35mm magnetic audio tracks, the audio, and the digital transfer was created in 16-bit 4K resolution from the 35mm A and B negatives. So yeah, they put a lot of work into it, and yeah, I'm really glad I saw this before I bought it, because I really was a bit tentative about whether or not I should get it or not. But the fact I, you know, rented it first meant that I was well on board in terms of buying it. And then another older release, not a new release at all, because this came out in 2012. But I found it, again, really rather cheap in CEX, like Sleeping Dogs, and it is The Lost Weekend, directed by Billy Wilder, who I've seen a few films from, which are really good. Off the top of my head, I think it was Sunset Boulevard, Double Indemnity. I think they're the ones. But yeah, this is from 1945, 101 minutes long, and it stars the great Ray Milland. And yeah, don't be thinking this is like some kind of weird Batman offshoot or anything. It really isn't. But yeah, really solid film of dealing with alcoholism and its effects, not just on yeah, it says here Billy Wilder, Double Indemnity, Sunset Boulevard, and Some Like It Hot. So to see Some Like It Hot. But yeah, this deals with alcoholism and its effects on the alcoholic themselves as well as the people around them. And yeah, it really goes into brutal detail about it. You know, the money grabbing from people, the theft, the trying of pawning off valuables, and it's just really, really heart wrenching. But yeah, still a really solid film. Not particularly entertaining, but definitely a film that captivates you in its plot. And finally, the newest release in terms of re-releases is Defense of the Realm from Network, and yeah. It stars Gabriel Byrne and Denholm Elliott. Gabriel Byrne has not been in massive amounts of high-profile films from what I've seen, but he was really rather good in End of Days with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was actually the better of the two as the devil. And yeah, this is a fantastic political thriller from the 80s, 1986 to be precise. And yeah, they've done a great job on the transfer from what I've read, as they've newly scanned it on to 2K resolution from the 35mm A and B original negatives and restored it in its original theatrical aspect ratio as well. And yeah, this isn't just a good film in terms of the cast, but it's also a good film in terms of the people involved. You've got Richard Harvey on the original music composed by, but you've also got Roger Deakins on the cinematography, who has obviously gone on to numerous nominations and prestige. And yeah, fantastic film overall. And you've also got a write-up in a little booklet as well by Neil Sinyard, the viewing notes. And you've also got the press notes in the back as well, basically going through the synopsis and who's involved and everything like that. So yeah, it's a really solid film. It's really enjoyable. I've not seen it for a while. I actually only originally watched this via a DVD that was included in a newspaper yonks ago. So yeah, but still, got the cast in there. There's Gabriel Byrne, and then you've got Denholm Elliott there. Made this obviously in between two of the Indiana Jones films, and yeah, highly recommend watching it if you can, because it is a worthwhile film, and definitely has, you know, feelings of like these 70s conspiracy thrillers that were really, really popular in the 70s in America, and yeah, it's basically our own British version of that. And yeah, cracking film, and a really good cast. So yeah, not much today in terms of new purchases, but yeah, I'm glad I found The Lost Weekend and Sleeping Dogs for cheap in CEX, especially since The Lost Weekend is now 10 years old in terms of its release. So yeah, really surprised I was able to find that for so cheap. And yeah, and then Deep Cover and Defense of the Realm, fantastic new releases, and Rogue Mail is a pretty good TV film as well, as far as TV films go. So yeah, highly recommend all of those films. If you've seen any of them, then I'd like to know your thoughts. But nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.